Hey everybody, it's Flat Top Friday, and I've got one of my faves, the great Carl Verheyen. Thank you, buddy. And, it's always an honor to have this guy come in, and he is one of the most outstanding players you'll ever want to hear. If you get a chance to hear him play, I know you're getting ready to go out on tour.
Yeah.
And, that's something you should buy his records. You should go see him play. You got to support these musicians because these guys spent their life getting good so that you guys can go to the shows and appreciate them and listen to their records. So give them some support. And I say that to all the up-and-coming young artists and the guys who've been doing it for a while, and then the iconic old guys like me.
And me.
I have no records to buy, but the only records I buy, the best record deal I've ever had was across the street there. I bought a James Brown record for a couple bucks one time, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's my record deal. Anyhow,
What do we have today?
what we have, this is not the original case, but it's a period case, is a Gibson J-55. And this guitar is something special. It's their Dreadnought, and one of the more top-of-the-line Dreadnought guitars that Gibson did. They did an advanced jumbo, which was a rosewood side and back. That was their top-of-the-line Dreadnought. But the J-55 was just underneath that. Mm-hmm. And it's a spruce top, very unusual bridge.
Yeah, it's different.
Rosewood board, script Gibson logo. It's not a Martin, it's a Gibson.
Yeah, we know that.
Norm's a little senile sometimes, but anyhow, mahogany sides and back. Just a very, very well-made guitar.
I bet that thing's
sounds
alive.
terrific. Well, play a chord or two just back here, and then we'll take it out and see what it does.
Let's see, I can put a foot on this case.
You can put a foot on anything you want.
I'll just have to play the customary G chord. Wow, it's even in tune. Beautiful, man. What a nice sounding instrument. Man, it's talking.
Nice voice.
It really feels alive to me.
Yeah. Well, it is. It was once alive, but it's still alive as an instrument.
Yeah. Has it had any repair or anything?
It's had a few little things, but very little. I mean, this guitar is remarkably straight for a guitar of this age. This has actually been in my warehouse for probably 25 years.
Really?
A lot of time when I found something that was really good, I thought that I would kind of stash it away and preserve it. I did my job. Now it's going to go out to somebody who's going to be able to play it and appreciate it. But it's an amazing guitar, and it's guitar art. I call it functional art. Wow. So, Carl, let's take this out.
Let's fire this up, man. I can't wait to play it.
Tell me what you think.
Right on.
All right, buddy.
Nice.
Hey everybody, Norm over here, and I've got everybody's favorite guitar player, the great Carl Verheyen. And Carl, you are the bomb. You're always working. You're like, what a concept. Working musician. Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, I've never had another job. I started when I was 11. On my 11th birthday, I got a cheap $30 nylon string from my grandmother, and my mom and dad gave me a lesson from a guy named John Merrill, who was in the Peanut Butter Conspiracy.
John Merrill.
Yeah, and he had a piano. He had an upright piano in his bedroom. I guess he lived at his mom's house, but the lessons were $2.50. Which was pretty amazing,
He retired with all that money now. Didn't
I
he?
hope so. Yeah. All the money we paid him, right?
Yeah.
$2.50. But I remember he taught me how to play Mr. Tambourine Man. The first song I learned, and I never really looked back, because back in the day when I was 14 years old, you could get a job. I come from Pasadena, right? I got a job at the La Cañada Youth House with my little trio. And we made $20 every Friday night.
That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, we got $5 each, and then we had to figure out how to split the last bit. Well, you got it last time.
Well, who went to school and had the math degree?
Yeah. But we were playing everything from Creedence to Cream to, it was before Led Zeppelin, really. So it was Beatles stuff. It was, I wish kids today had that opportunity that we had. Because you were in bands too.
I was in bands. I'll tell you, unlike you though, I was in a band, and I had to choose another job afterwards because, I couldn't make a good living playing, but I played with a lot of really great players. I played with this guy, Bobby Caldwell.
Bobby? Sure, yeah.
And, Rick Vito.
Oh, love Rick.
A lot of other people that were really, really great players. But when I went to sell my music to somebody, I would say, check this out. This is really good. Yeah, I couldn't really truthfully say it, but when I say this guitar is really good, I can say it with conviction and be truthful.
You can be truthful. Yeah, that's
So,
great. Yeah. Very cool.
And this guitar, by the way, is a 1941 Martin J-55. And
No,
it's
Gibson.
a Gibson.
I thought you
J-50.
knew what you were talking about, Norm.
I'm senile, but yeah, it's a Martin. All right. No, it's a Gibson. Script logo.
Yeah.
And it's got the really cool pickguard, unusual bridge. These they came in a couple varieties. They have this bridge. Some of them have like the fluted headstock, like an ES250, kind of cut in, and this has got the more traditional headstock.
Yeah.
But that's a script logo.
Well, we were saying that I have a 51 J50.
Which came after this.
Yeah, it came. So it's it's 10 years later, and I find it to be the most awesome studio strumming guitar. I mean, just making playing cowboy chords on that thing, you know. And to me, I know it's a whole different instrument, but to me, it sounds like Rubber Soul to me. It sounds like
they
that.
were using Gibson guitars.
Sounds like that. You
Looking
know.
through
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's very true. So.
So yeah, I mean Gibsons are great for strumming. That's why people collect guitars. Each one does something else. I mean, you can play single note stuff. You can play chord melody stuff on this.
And you know who turned me on to the Gibsons? I got this weird call in 1996, 97 from John Fogerty. Probably comes in here all the time too.
Well, I haven't seen John in a while, but yes.
So he said, "Hey, I'm looking for a guitar teacher." And I go, "John, you're John Fogerty." And he goes, "Yeah, but I just turned 50 years old and I want to be better." So I came down there to the studio, which was like just blocks from my house, and gave him 2 to 3 lessons a week for a year. And he was in the collecting mode. And remember Andy Brower?
Yeah,
studio
I remember
rep?
Andy got a lot of stuff from him. I
Andy
did a
was
little business with John too.
Yeah.
In fact, I had his Rickenbacker that he used on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Wow.
And there's a really kind of crazy story with this. It had a truss rod cover and it said Acme on there. And I said, John, what's the deal? Why do you,
Why does it say Rickenbacker?
Were you pissed off at Rickenbacker? He says, no. You remember the Roadrunner cartoons?
Oh, yeah.
And every sign said Acme this, Acme
Sounds
that.
like him, yeah.
And I had offered him the guitar. I got it from a guy that he had given it to. It was a centerfold in Guitar World magazine. And the guy at Guitar World called me and said, he wants to sell this guitar. And I ended up buying it from him. And then John found out that I had it. And he came in and he was going to buy it. And it was a lot more money than I paid for it, but about half of what I was asking for it. I wanted him to have it and give him a good deal. Anyhow, I ended up...
By the way, did it still say Acme?
Yes, it did.
That's great.
And he ended up not buying the guitar from me. I sold it to another dealer who marked it up. He paid what I was asking, marked it up, and John's wife eventually bought it for him from this other dealer, Gary's Classic Guitars, who's a buddy of mine in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And so just a weird turn of events. He ended up with the guitar. I wanted to give it to him. He would have got it for a lot less buying it from me, but he couldn't get himself to buy a guitar that he had
Lesson
given away.
learned. Always buy from Norm.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, he's the one who, because he was collecting guitars like crazy, and he goes, "Do you have any Gibson acoustics?" And I go, "No, I don't." And he goes, "You should get one. You should get some because they're just fantastic for strumming and doubling and putting a capo here and doubling and all that." So the first one I got was the 51 J50, and then I found that the L00,
which is a smaller guitar.
and that's not really a strummer. It's more of a bluesy kind of thing.
Yeah, but you can strum on it as well, But Gibsons just have a different texture.
They really do.
That's why people collect guitars. Every one of them.
They really do have a different sound in a track for sure.
You were doing, mentioned some Beatles stuff before. Is there anything Beatles you could play on?
Well, it's funny you should mention because when I was a kid, following that little period where I was playing in this band, my parents took me out to dinner in Pasadena on Lake Street at a place called the Sawmill, and it was a steakhouse, right? And there's 4 kids, and we're all trudging out, and I see this guy playing in the bar, and I go, "Hey, wait, Mom, Dad, I want to ask about this. I can do that. So I went and asked the cocktail waitress, how can I get a job here playing? Because he was doing like Van Morrison and Jackson Browne and Joni Mitchell, all the singer-songwriters,
stuff, yeah.
James Taylor. It was that era. So they go, well, you come back tomorrow and talk to the manager. I came back the next day, pulled out my guitar, and he goes, what do you got, kid? And I played Here, There, and Everywhere. And he goes, I'll just play a few bars. This is Kid, you know. This is what I knew at 17, you know. Right, he goes to the bridge. So I played that for the guy, and he goes, you start Sunday. You're going to do Sundays and Mondays. And then he goes, you are 18, aren't you? And I go, no, I'm 17. When do you turn 18? 3 months. And he goes, okay, come back in 3 months and you have the job. And he honored it. So I started, you know, I was making $35 a night at 18, but I'm living at home. Then within a few months, he moved me to Tuesday through Saturday. And
he was smart.
At $75 a night, I was on top of the world. I mean, can you imagine an 18-year-old making that much money and no rent? No expenses. Yeah, so
very cool.
Yeah.
You know what I love about the Beatle tunes, or a lot of the Beatle tunes, that has a little of that in that tune, Here, There, and Everywhere. They would do something where it would be either start in a minor and go to major, and then major back to minor, and it changed the whole feel and tone of the.
Yeah, if you think about harmony, a lot of the guys that wrote the standards, you know, Jerome Kern and Victor Young and Rodgers and Hammerstein, all these guys, a thing they did quite a bit was modulate up a minor third. Or in the case of Brian Wilson, sometimes a major third, and find a way to get back down. And you just really miss that in music today, you know.
And, but the change of it kind of changes the whole mood. When you go from major to minor.
Because he's in G and he goes to the B flat, but the relative minor is G minor, you know, and then a C minor, then back to D7, which is the 5 chord. And to me, that's one of the greatest things in recorded music, to go like. So what he did is he's going up with the minor third and then coming down the major third. You know, that is really in the melody. So I think I can probably play this on the acoustic. Not quite.
That waterfall thing that Ted used to do. I get that from Lenny Bro.
Yeah.
Do you know Grant Geisman?
Very well.
Grant is a good buddy of mine, and he knows the Beatles stuff too. If you learn to play all the Beatles stuff, you can play anything.
Yeah. Grant and I have sat down and played Beatles songs, and he goes, "No, that's a minor 6," you know. You know, and he's really, really cool. We've been friends for many years. There we go. Yeah, this thing's talking. I love it.
Sounding sweet.
Yeah. So what wood is this?
This is mahogany.
It's mahogany.
But it's old mahogany.
Yeah.
And it's just the way they were put together back then. There was just something working about them. And again, this wood was probably aged for 50 or 100 years before it became a guitar in 1941.
So? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, back then they did, you know, after the Beatles, everybody wanted to be a guitar player. And they were selling so many guitars, they had to just kind of put them together quickly because of the demand.
Yeah. But before the Beatles, they had some stuff
they could go to some aged wood. Now they have to artificially age some stuff in order to kind of, try to make up for some of that aging.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Well, this is a great instrument, and I'm sure it's really good for finger picking. Nice.
Very cool. The great Carl Verheyen. Thank you so much for coming
you,
in,
Norm.
buddy.
Big fun.
Anytime, you're always welcome. You're part of the family here.
Buddy,
And,
appreciate it.
your videos, people love the videos from back in the day and now.
All right.
And LSL artist.
Yeah.
So thanks
Yeah.
for doing that.
All right.
My
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks so
All
much.
right.